The massive ship appeared over Seoul without warning. It hung in the air, silent and still. The world stopped and watched. News screens everywhere showed the same image, a silver oval that gleamed in the sunlight. Ambassador Ta stood on the roof of the United Nations building. His heart beat fast, but his face stayed calm. Next to him, world leaders waited. No one spoke. They were about to meet aliens for the first time. "They're coming down," someone whispered. A beam of blue light shot from the ship to the ground. 5 tall figures stepped out of the light. They had pale blue skin and large eyes. They wore silver suits that seemed to flow like water. The tallest alien stepped forward. "I am High Counselor Vex of the Galactic Council. We represent 37 spacefaring civilizations. We come in peace." Ta bowed slightly. "I am Ambassador Tai of Earth. We welcome you to our world." The aliens were taken to a large meeting room. Guards stood at every door. Cameras recorded everything. Vex spoke first. "Earth has reached a level of technology that qualifies you to join our council. This is a great honor. Only 1 in 1,000 worlds is invited." Ta nodded. "We are interested in learning more." "Good." Vex touched a small device on his wrist. A 3D map of the galaxy appeared in the air. "These are the council worlds. As members, you will gain access to advanced technology. Your people will be allowed to travel to council planets. Your sick will be healed by our medicine." President Du leaned forward. "And what does Earth give in return?" Vex's large eyes blinked slowly. "A small price. Control of your military forces will transfer to the Council. Some of your resources will be directed to Council projects, and certain technologies deemed dangerous will be removed from your possession." The room went silent. Ta felt his stomach tighten. "You want us to give up our freedom," he said. Vex tilted his head. "We prefer to call it supervised integration. It is for your own good. Young species often destroy themselves without guidance." Ta looked at President Du, who gave a small nod. "High Counselor," Ta said, standing up, "humans will never surrender control of our destiny. Not to anyone." The alien's face showed no emotion. "You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation. These are the terms of membership." "Then we must decline membership," Ta said firmly. Vex's eyes widened. "No species has ever declined. The benefits far outweigh the small sacrifices." President Du stood up. "They are not small sacrifices to us. Freedom to choose our path is the core of human identity. Without council protection, your world will be vulnerable," Vex warned. "There are dangers in space you cannot imagine. We would rather face those dangers as free people than live as protected servants," Tay replied. The other aliens began talking quickly in their language. They seemed confused, even angry. Vex raised a hand, and they fell silent. "You are making a grave mistake. The Council has stood for 15,000 years. All members prosper under our guidance." Ta looked directly into the alien's large eyes. "Then they chose a different path than we will. Thank you for your offer, but Earth declines." "This is your final answer?" Vex asked. "It is," Ta said. Vex stood up abruptly. "We will return to our ship. You have 3 days to reconsider before we depart. I strongly urge you to think carefully about what you are rejecting." As the aliens left, Tai turned to President Du. "Do you think we made the right choice?" The president looked at the door where the aliens had gone. "I don't know. But I do know we made the human choice." Outside, the alien ship continued to hover over the city, a silent reminder that everything had changed. Humanity had just refused the stars because the price was too high. No one knew what would happen next. Captain Jin stood on the bridge of the Defender Earth's newest space vessel. 3 months had passed since the aliens left. The world had changed quickly. Countries worked together now, building ships and weapons. Everyone knew they needed to be ready. "Captain, we're picking up strange signals," said Officer Park, looking at her screen. Jin moved to her side. What kind of signals? They're coming from just beyond the moon. It's a pattern I've never seen before. Jin frowned. Send it to Dr. Sung at the Space Defense Center. And keep monitoring. Dr. Sung stared at the data on his screen. The signal was definitely alien. He had studied the small pieces of technology left behind when the council representatives departed. This signal matched their communication style. His phone rang. It was the president. Dr. Sung, what can you tell me? They're back, sir. Or at least their ships are. They're staying hidden behind the moon, but they're talking to someone. There was silence on the line. Then, come to the emergency meeting. 1 hour. World leaders gathered in a secure room deep under the UN building. Captain Jin and Dr. Sung sat side by side, facing President Du and Ambassador Ta. The council ships have been there for weeks, Dr. Sung explained. And I found something else. Small devices all over the world. They were placed during the aliens' visit. He showed pictures of tiny silver discs found on buildings, in parks, even on mountains. They're watching us, Captain Jin said. Ambassador Ta looked grim. And now they're back with more ships. The room's main screen lit up suddenly. High Counselor Vex's face appeared. Greetings, humans. I see you've discovered our observation network. Primitive species often react poorly to monitoring, but it was necessary. President Du stood up. You place spy devices on our world without permission. This is a violation of our sovereignty. Vex blinked slowly. Earth has no recognized sovereignty in galactic law. You refused council membership, so we must take steps to contain potential threats. Contain, Jin whispered. The council has reached a decision, Vex continued. Earth is now under quarantine. No ships may leave your solar system. No alien species may trade with you. You will remain isolated until you reach a more cooperative stage of development. Ta stepped forward. You have no right. We have every right, Vex interrupted. For the safety of the galaxy, primitive worlds must be managed. You have one final chance to join the council under our terms. Otherwise, the quarantine begins immediately. It will last 100 Earth years. The screen went dark. The room burst into angry shouts. Captain Jin watched President Du, who sat quietly, thinking. Finally, the president stood. Everyone fell silent. They expect us to give in, he said. To surrender rather than face isolation. They don't understand humans very well. He turned to Captain Jin. How soon can we break their quarantine? Jin straightened her back. Sir, the Defender isn't ready for. I'm not asking if we're ready. I'm asking how soon we can be ready. Jin thought for a moment. 6 months. Maybe less if Dr. Sung can help us understand the alien technology better. Dr. Sung nodded. The devices they left behind contain valuable information. I've already learned much about their propulsion systems. The president looked at each person in the room. Then we have our answer for the council. Earth will not be contained. We will not surrender our freedom. If they build a wall around us, we will break through it. Ambassador Ta smiled for the first time in months. They think isolation will weaken us. But humans have always been at their best when challenged. Send a message to the council ships, the president ordered. Tell them this. Earth rejects their ultimatum. We will chart our own path among the stars. Captain Jin felt a chill run down her spine. The quarantine meant Earth was now at odds with 37 advanced civilizations. The odds seemed impossible. But looking around the room at the determined faces, she felt something else too. Hope. Engineer Han wiped sweat from her forehead as she studied the alien device. For 4 months, she had led a team working day and night in a secret lab under the mountains. Their job, to understand and copy the council's technology. I think I've got it, she said, looking up at Dr. Sung. The way they bend space to travel faster than light. It's not magic. It's just science we haven't learned yet. Dr. Sung smiled. Can we build it? Han nodded. With what we learned from their monitoring devices, yes. It won't be as good as theirs, but it will work. How long? 2 months, maybe less. High above Earth, Council ships maintain their blockade. Inside the command vessel, High Counselor Vex received reports from across the galaxy. The humans are building something, said his assistant. Our sensors detect unusual energy patterns. Vex dismissed the concern with a wave. They cannot hope to match our technology. The quarantine is absolute. There's more, the assistant continued. Several council members have expressed concerns about our approach to Earth. Which ones? The Trell and Novans. They suggest we reconsider our terms. Vex's eyes narrowed. The decision was made. The humans must learn their place. 2 months later, in a hidden facility, Captain Jin walked around a sleek silver ship. It was smaller than the council vessels, but beautiful in its own way. The name Defiance was painted on its side. Will it fly? She asked Engineer Han. Better than fly, Han replied with pride. It will jump across space. The alien tech works. We've tested it in simulations. President Du and Ambassador Tai enter the hangar, their faces serious. The council believes we've accepted our fate, the president said. They've reduced their blockade ships from 20 to 5. Jin nodded. When do we launch? Tonight, said Ta. The mission is simple but dangerous. Take the Defiance beyond our solar system. Prove we can break the quarantine. And then? Jin asked. The president smiled. Go to Proxima Centauri. Start building our first colony there. Commander Wu stepped forward. He had been selected to pilot the ship. What if the council attacks? Avoid conflict if possible, Tai advised. This is about showing them they can't contain us, not starting a war. That night, the Defiance rose silently from Earth. It moved slowly past the moon, staying hidden from the council ships. Preparing jump drive, Commander Wu announced to his small crew. Everyone ready. They nodded, nervous but determined. For Earth, Wu said, and pressed the button. The stars blurred. There was a moment of pressure then. We did it, shouted the navigator. We're beyond the solar system. Wu checked their position. The jump worked perfectly. No sign of council ships. Set course for Proxima Centauri, Wu ordered. Let's make history. The news reached the council meeting hall days later. Representatives from 37 worlds sat in a great circle. Many gasped as Vex delivered the report. Impossible, shouted the Krex ambassador. No primitive species could bypass our technology. Yet they did, said the Trell representative calmly. Perhaps we underestimated these humans. They must be stopped, insisted Vex. I call for military action. The Novan ambassador stood up. I disagree. The humans have shown exceptional ability. Perhaps our approach was wrong. The terms of membership are not negotiable, Vex stated firmly. Everything is negotiable, replied the Trell. Except, it seems, human freedom. For the first time in thousands of years, the council chamber erupted into shouting. Unity was breaking down. On Earth, Dr. Sung received the first transmission from the Defiance. We've arrived at Proxima Centauri. Colony construction begins tomorrow. The stars belong to humanity now, too. Dr. Sung looked up at the night sky and smiled. The real journey was just beginning. June adjusted her hood as she walked through the busy trading post. This space station, far from Earth, was neutral ground. Aliens of many kinds bought and sold goods here. Council laws were not strictly enforced. It was perfect for her mission. At 25, June was Earth's youngest diplomat. She had been chosen for this dangerous task because no one would suspect her. Her small bag contained Earth's most important secret messages. She entered a quiet bar and sat in the corner. 3 different alien species drank strange liquids nearby. June ordered water and waited. Is this seat taken? Asked a voice. She looked up to see a tall, thin alien with golden skin. This was her contact. It's free, she replied, using the code phrase. The view here is nice. The alien sat down. I am Len of the Trell. You must be from Earth. June nodded. Thank you for meeting me. The council does not know I am here, Len said quietly. Many Trell are unhappy with how Earth has been treated. Your people have shown great courage. We seek allies, not charity, June said. Earth believes there are other species who value freedom as we do. Len leaned closer. You are right. The Trell and Novans have lived under council restrictions for too long. We have advanced technology we are forbidden to use, resources we cannot access without permission. What stops you from leaving the council? Fear. No one has ever successfully left. But your colony at Proxima Centauri gives us hope. June slid a small device across the table. This contains Earth's proposal, an alliance between our worlds. Free trade, shared defense, no surrender of sovereignty. Len took it carefully. This is dangerous. The Council forbids unauthorized alliances. The Council forbids many things, Jun replied. Yet here we are. A month later, Ambassador Ta received June's secure transmission. He smiled as he read it. The Trell have agreed, he told President Du. They will share technology and intelligence with us. The Novans are considering our offer as well. 2 allies against 35 council races, the president said thoughtfully. Not great odds. But a start, Te replied. And Jun reports that other species are watching. Many have grievances against the council. High Counselor Vex won't stand for this. He may not have a choice. June says the council is already divided over the human situation. Some blame Vex for pushing us away rather than finding compromise. On the council's central world, Vex faced angry questions from the governing committee. The humans now have an unauthorized colony, said the Luri representative. They have made contact with the Trell. Your quarantine has failed. It is a minor setback, Vex insisted. Earth remains primitive compared to us. Yet they broke through our blockade, countered another member. And now the Trell share their technology. Your handling of this situation has been flawed from the beginning. Vex's assistant entered and whispered urgent news in his ear. What is it? Demanded the committee leader. Vex's face darkened. The Novans have officially announced a trade agreement with Earth. They are sending ships to the human colony. Silence filled the chamber. This defiance cannot stand, Vex said finally. I recommend immediate sanctions against the Trell and Novans. Perhaps we should reconsider our approach to Earth instead, suggested the Luri. Offer new terms, more respect for their independence. Impossible, Vex shouted. The founding principles of the Council cannot be changed for one stubborn species. Then perhaps the Council itself needs to change, the Luri replied calmly. Back on Earth, Engineer Han reviewed the technical data sent by the Trell. This changes everything, she told Dr. Sung. Their power systems are far beyond the Council designs we copied. With this, we can build better ships, stronger weapons. Dr. Sung nodded. And the Novan biology data will help our medicine advance by decades. All because we refuse to surrender, Han said. Freedom has its rewards, Sung replied with a smile. And its challenges. Vex won't let this alliance grow without a fight. Outside the window, a Trell ship landed at the spaceport. The first official alien delegation to visit Earth as equals rather than masters. The Great Council Hall glowed with soft blue light. Representatives from 37 spacefaring civilizations sat in curved rows. Today was historic. For the first time in 12,000 years, the Council had called an emergency session about a single world, Earth. High Counselor Vex stood at the center. The human problem grows worse. They have established 7 colonies. They have formed illegal alliances with the Trell and Novans. They ignore our laws. Are they truly a problem? Asked the Luri representative. Or are they simply exercising their right to exist freely? Freedom must have limits, Vex replied sharply. The Council has maintained peace in this galaxy through order and control. The Krex delegate rose. His species was known for their military might. The solution is simple. Crush the human colonies now, before they grow stronger. Murmurs filled the hall. Some nodded. Others looked troubled. Violence should be our last option, said the Trell representative. We have invited Ambassador Ta to address the council. Let us hear the human perspective. Vex looked annoyed but nodded. Very well. Connect to Earth. The large screen at the front of the hall lit up, but instead of Ambassador Ta appearing live, a recorded message began to play. Greetings to the Galactic Council, said Ta's image. I decline your invitation to appear in person. Earth will not validate a system that demands submission in exchange for respect. Angry shouts erupted from some delegates. Instead, Ta continued calmly. I bring news. Earth has now established 7 thriving colonies. Our alliance with the Trell and Novans has expanded to include scientific and cultural exchange. We call this partnership the Coalition of Free Worlds. The hall erupted in chaos. Vex shouted for order. Earth did not seek conflict with the Council. Ta's message went on. We simply refuse terms that would remove our freedom. If the Council wishes genuine dialogue between equals, we remain open to discussion. If not, we will continue on our independent path. The screen went dark. Vex turned to the assembly. You see the humans' arrogance. They reject our authority openly. Perhaps our authority deserves to be questioned, said the Novan representative, standing. The Novan worlds have prospered more in 6 months of free trade with Earth than in a century under Council restrictions. The Krex delegate pounded his fist. This is treason. The Council has spoken with one voice for millennia. And perhaps that is the problem, replied the Luri calmly. One voice, usually yours, and the High Councillors. The rest of us are expected to agree. The Krex leader turned to his delegation. We will not sit here and listen to this. The Council must act against Earth and its allies, or we will act alone. With that, the entire Krex delegation stood and marched from the hall. Vex looked stunned. This is unprecedented. Yet inevitable, said the Trell representative. I move that we reconsider our position on Earth and the Coalition. I oppose this motion, Vex said immediately. For the first time ever, the Council took a vote that was not unanimous. When the results appeared, the assembly was split nearly evenly. Vex stared at the numbers in disbelief. Without consensus, we cannot proceed. Then the Council is paralyzed, noted the Luri. Several more delegations rose and left the hall in protest. On Earth, Dr. Sung watched the Council session through a secret feed provided by Trell Intelligence. It's happening, he told President Du and Ambassador Ta. The Council is fracturing over how to deal with us. How many walked out? Asked Ta. 7 species so far. The Krex left first, angry that the Council won't attack us. The others left because they support our position. President Du looked thoughtful. And so a civilization that stood for 12,000 years begins to crumble, not from external attack, but from internal contradiction. All because humans refuse to negotiate away their freedom, Tai added with a small smile. The real challenge comes next, Sung warned. The Krex won't accept this outcome. They'll want to make an example of us. Then we'd better be ready, said the president. Contact our allies. It's time to form a proper defense agreement. Captain Jin stood on the bridge of the Defiance I Earth's newest and largest warship. Around her, a fleet of 20 ships moved in formation. Some were human-built. Others belonged to the Trell and Novans. All flew the same new flag, a circle of stars on a blue background, symbol of the Coalition of Free Worlds. Fleet status. Jin asked her second-in-command. All ships ready, Captain. The Trell vessels have completed their weapon upgrades using Engineer Hand's designs. Jin nodded. Begin patrol of the Proxima Centauri system. 3 months had passed since the Council meeting fell apart. In that time, everything had changed. The Coalition had grown from 3 species to 15. More council members had walked away each week, tired of restrictions and eager for the freedom the coalition promised. Jin's communication screen lit up. It was Engineer Han, calling from the main research base on Earth. "Captain, good news. We've finished combining Trell power systems with Novan shield technology. The upgrades are ready for your fleet." "Just in time," Jin replied. "Our scouts report Krex ships moving near Coalition space. They're still angry about the Council split." "How many ships?" 30 at least. They haven't attacked yet, but they're making their presence known." Han looked worried. "Be careful out there. The Krex are known for their aggression." "That's why we're here," Jin said with confidence, "to show them the Coalition can defend itself." On Earth, representatives from all 15 Coalition species gathered in a large, circular room. Unlike the Council Hall, all seats were arranged on the same level. No species sat higher than others. Ambassador Ta stood to address them. "Welcome to the first official meeting of the Coalition of Free Worlds. 1 year ago, Earth stood alone against the Council. Today, we stand together as equals." The Trell representative, Len, spoke next. "For 10,000 years, my people lived under Council rule. We had peace, but not freedom. Now we have both. The Coalition needs a formal structure," said the Novan delegate. "Clear rules that protect the rights of all member worlds." President Du nodded. "We propose a simple charter. 3 principles. Each species maintains its sovereignty. All agree to mutual defense. Trade flows freely between our worlds." "This is so different from the Council," said a representative from the Mira, one of the newest Coalition members. "They demanded control of our military, our resources, even some of our technologies. Because they feared what might happen if worlds were truly free," Tai explained. "But we believe freedom leads to cooperation, not chaos." The meeting continued for hours as the charter took shape. When it was done, all 15 leaders signed it. "Today marks a new era for this part of the galaxy," President Du declared. "Not ruled by fear and control, but built on respect and cooperation." On his command ship, High Counselor Vex received the news with fury. 15 species now. The Coalition grows while the Council shrinks. His assistant looked nervous. "High Counselor, 4 more Council members have indicated they may leave to join the humans." "This cannot stand," Vex shouted. "The Krex were right. We should have crushed this rebellion immediately." "Is it truly a rebellion?" the assistant asked quietly. "They've attacked no one. They simply chose a different path." Vex turned cold eyes to his assistant. "Defiance of the Council is itself an attack on our way of life. Contact the Krex commander. Tell him he has my authorization to take action against Coalition forces." "Sir, that would start a war." "The war has already begun," Vex said darkly. "A war of ideas, and the Council is losing." Back in Coalition space, Captain Jin received an urgent transmission. "Captain, our long-range sensors detect a large Krex battle fleet moving toward the Proxima Centauri colony. At least 50 ships." Jin's face set in determination. "Alert all Coalition forces. It seems the Krex have made their choice." She opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships prepare for defensive positions. The Coalition faces its first test." The sky above Proxima Centauri's first human colony lit up with flashes of light. The battle had begun. 50 Krex warships against 35 Coalition vessels. Commander Wu had been promoted to Admiral after his successful first mission to Proxima. Now he stood on the bridge of the Unity *, the largest Coalition flagship. Around him, human, Trell, and Novan officers worked at their stations. "Krex ships entering attack formation," reported the Trell sensor officer. "They're targeting our colony." Admiral Wu studied the tactical display. The Krex had more ships, but the Coalition fleet had Engineer Han's new technology, the combined power of 3 species. "Deploy in defensive pattern Sigma," he ordered. "Protect the colony at all costs." The Coalition ships moved into position. forming a barrier between the Kreks and the planet. "They're firing," shouted an officer. Brilliant beams of energy shot from the Kreks vessels toward the Coalition line. The shields on Wu's ship flared bright blue as they absorbed the impact. "Shields holding at 92%, reported the defense officer. "The Novan technology works." Wu allowed himself a small smile. "Return fire. Target their lead ships." The Coalition fleet responded with precision. Their combined weapons struck the first line of Kreks ships. 3 exploded immediately. 2 more drifted, damaged. The Kreks commander's angry face appeared on Wu's screen. "You dare to resist the will of the Council. The Council is falling apart," Wu replied calmly. "And the Coalition does not answer to you. Leave our space or face the consequences." "Humans are too primitive to dictate terms," the Kreks snarled. "We will crush your colony and your pathetic alliance." The screen went dark as the Kreks commander cut the connection. "All ships, engage the enemy," Wu ordered. "But remember, our goal is defense, not destruction." The battle raged for hours. Coalition ships moved with coordination that surprised the Kreks, whose tactics relied on superior numbers and firepower. Engineer Hand's hybrid technology gave the Coalition shields that could withstand heavy attacks and weapons that could penetrate Kreks' defenses. On Earth, President Du and Ambassador Ta watched the battle through a live data feed. Each dot on the screen represented a ship. The Coalition vessels were blue, the Kreks red. "Our forces are holding," Tay observed. "The Kreks didn't expect such resistance." "This battle is about more than Proxima Centauri," Du said. "It will show the galaxy whether the Coalition can stand against the Council's military might." As they watched, the Kreks fleet began to pull back. Their numbers had been reduced to 35 ships, with many damage. The Coalition had lost only 7 vessels. "They're retreating," Ta said in surprise. The communication screen lit up with Admiral Wu's face. He looked tired but proud. "Mr. President, the Kreks are withdrawing from Coalition space. The colony is safe." "Excellent work, Admiral." "Casualties?" "Lower than expected. The combined technology worked perfectly. Engineer Han should be very proud." After the call ended, Tai turned to President Du. "What happens now?" "Now," said Du, "we address the Coalition worlds." An hour later, President Du stood before cameras broadcasting to all 15 Coalition species across 7 star systems. Today, the Coalition of Free Worlds faced its first military test. A force sent by the remnants of the Galactic Council attempted to destroy our colony at Proxima Centauri. They failed. He paused, looking directly into the camera. "This victory proves what we have said from the beginning. Free worlds, working together as equals, can stand against any threat. We did not seek this conflict, but we have shown we will defend our right to exist freely." Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched. On worlds still under Council control, people saw that there was an alternative to submission. "The age of the Council's unchallenged rule is over," Du continued. "A new era has begun, one where freedom and cooperation replace control and fear. We invite all peaceful worlds to join us in building this future." On his command ship, defeated and angry, the Kreks commander sent a message to High Counselor Vex. "The Coalition is stronger than we thought. Their technology surpasses our expectations. We request reinforcements." High Counselor Vex stood before the remaining council members. Only 5 species still followed his leadership. The others had either joined the Coalition or declared neutrality. "The situation has become critical," he announced. "The Coalition grows stronger each day. They have defeated the Kreks attack force. Now they expand into more star systems. What do you propose?" asked one of the loyal delegates. Vex's face hardened. "We must gather all our remaining forces for one decisive strike. And this rebellion before it destroys everything we built over 15,000 years. Against all 15 Coalition species," questioned another member. "We still have more ships, more weapons," Vex insisted. "And we have tradition and order on our side. We will target their heart, Earth itself." On the bridge of the Coalition flagship Unity Admiral Jin, formerly captain, received the urgent report. Council forces are gathering at Ta City, over 200 ships. Jin frowned. After the victory at Proxima Centauri, Admiral Wu had been sent to defend the newest Coalition colonies. Now she commanded the main defense fleet. Their target? She asked. Intelligence suggests Earth, replied Hertrell, second in command. High Counselor Vex believes destroying humanity's homeworld will break the Coalition. Jin opened a secure channel to Coalition headquarters. Ambassador Tay's face appeared on screen. We've detected the Council fleet, Jin reported. It's the largest gathering of ships in recorded history. Ta nodded gravely. We expected this. Vex has lost too much to back down now. The Coalition has already approved your defense plan. We'll be outnumbered, Jin warned. But not outmatched, Tay replied with confidence. Engineer Han has sent new shield modifications to all our ships. And remember, we're fighting for freedom, not control. I'll gather the fleet at the jump point near Saturn, Jin said. We'll meet them before they reach Earth. 2 days later, 150 Coalition ships waited in space near Saturn. They represented all 15 member species, united in defense of Earth. Jin addressed the fleet commanders from the Unity's bridge. The Council fleet approaches. They outnumber us, but they don't have our unity or our cause. Remember your training and the battle plan. The Coalition ships formed into an unusual pattern. Unlike traditional battle formations, they arranged themselves in small, mobile groups. Council ships entering the system, announced the sensor officer. 220 vessels. Hold position, Jin ordered. Let them come to us. The massive Council fleet emerged from light speed. Their ships moved in rigid traditional formations, just as Jin had predicted. Begin Operation Swarm, she commanded. The Coalition groups split apart, each targeting specific sections of the Council fleet. Instead of meeting force with force, they attacked, retreated, and attacked again from different angles. The Council commanders struggled to respond to these tactics. Their rigid formations broke as they tried to chase the more nimble Coalition ships. Their center is exposed, Jin observed. All strike teams target their command ships. 20 Coalition vessels converged on the Council's center. Their combined weapons fire cut through the suddenly vulnerable command ships. Explosions bloomed in space. On his flagship, High Counselor Vex watched in disbelief as his carefully planned attack fell apart. How is this possible? He demanded. We have superior numbers. They're not fighting according to any known tactics, his officer replied. Their ships move independently, but coordinate perfectly. Vex stared at the battle display. A third of his fleet was already destroyed or disabled. Coalition losses were minimal. Send the signal, he ordered finally. Request to open negotiations. Jin received the message on her command screen. Council forces request ceasefire and negotiations. She opened a channel to Vex's ship. This is Admiral Jin of the Coalition fleet. Vex's face appeared. We offer terms for your surrender. Jin almost laughed. You misunderstand the situation, Counselor. You're losing this battle. The Council has stood for 15,000 years, Vex said stiffly. We can offer you favorable terms. Ambassador Tai left instructions for this moment, Jin replied. His words exactly. Humans negotiate as equals or not at all. Those terms were unacceptable 5 years ago. They remain unacceptable today. She leaned forward. Here are our terms. The Council acknowledges the sovereignty of all Coalition worlds. All blockades end immediately, and you resign as High Counselor. Vex's expression showed shock, then anger, then finally defeat. Very well, he said quietly. The Council surrenders. 1 month after the Battle of Ta City, representatives from 37 worlds gathered on Earth. The Great Hall had been built specially for this historic occasion. Unlike the old Council chamber, this room was circular with all seats at the same level. Ambassador Ta stood at the center. He looked at the faces around him, humans, Trell, Novans, and many others, including species that had once been part of the Galactic Council. Today, he began, we witnessed something once thought impossible. After 15,000 years, the Galactic Council has officially dissolved. Murmurs ran through the crowd. Some delegates looked relieved, others nervous. In its place, Ta continued, we established the Galactic Congress of Free Worlds. Each species here has an equal voice. Each maintains its own sovereignty. None will be forced to surrender their freedom to gain protection or technology. President Du joined Todd in the center. 5 years ago, Earth stood alone against the Council. We refused their demands to give up our independence. Many thought we were foolish to resist such a powerful force. He smiled. But we discovered something important. We were not alone in valuing freedom. Many species felt as we did, but had never dared to challenge the Council's authority. The Trell representative, Len, spoke next. The Council maintained peace through control. The Congress will maintain peace through cooperation and mutual respect. And what of those who refuse to join? Asked a delegate from a former Council world. They are free to choose their own path. Tai answered. Force and coercion are the old ways. We offer membership, not demand it. Former High Counselor Vex sat quietly in the back. After the Council's surrender, he had been allowed to observe the new order taking shape. Now he stood up. May I speak? He asked. Ta nodded. Everyone has a voice here. Vex walked slowly to the center. He looked older, his confidence gone. For thousands of years, I believed absolute order was necessary for galactic peace, he said. I was wrong. The Council failed not because it was attacked, but because it refused to evolve. It could not imagine freedom and security existing together. He looked around the room. I have learned much from watching humans. They value their independence so deeply that they would risk everything to preserve it. And in doing so, they created something better than what we had built. The room was silent as Vex bowed to Tai and returned to his seat. President Du spoke again. The charter of the Congress is simple. All members have equal rights. All agree to defend each other if attacked. All share technology and resources freely, and all maintain their unique cultures and independence. The delegates rose, and one by one signed the charter. When it was done, Tai declared, the Galactic Congress of Free Worlds is now established. The future we build together begins today. Later that evening, Ta stood with Jin, Han, and sung on a balcony overlooking the city. Above them, ships from dozens of worlds moved peacefully through Earth's night sky. It's hard to believe how much has changed, said Dr. Sung. 5 years ago, we'd never met aliens. Now Earth is the headquarters of a galactic alliance. All because we refused to give up our freedom, Engineer Han added. Admiral Jin looked up at the stars. The strangest part is that by standing firm, we actually created a more stable galaxy. The Council was already failing. It just took humans to show everyone there was another way. Ambassador Ta smiled. Freedom is a powerful idea. Once people see it's possible, they want it for themselves. A young aide hurried onto the balcony. Ambassador, we've detected something at the edge of our galaxy. A probe of some kind. It's not from any known species. Ta and the others exchanged glances. It seems the universe has more challenges in store for us, President Du said, joining them on the balcony. But this time, we face them together, as equals, as free worlds. Above them, a new star seemed to shine particularly bright, the first light of a new galactic era that began when humans refused to negotiate away their freedom.